Hey, peace, blessing, Boyka, everybody. Man, what a beautiful day, huh? Even though here in Orlando, I'm in Tampa, I'm sorry. It's raining a lot, but still, I enjoy that day. It's still a beautiful day no matter what. Now, I got three cameras going on. So you got to excuse me. Since I turn here one time, here to Instagram, my people on Instagram, turn here, my people on Facebook. I turn here with StreamYard to my people on YouTube. I always suggest that everybody goes on my YouTube channel, and for the simple reasons that I'm able to control a lot more on the YouTube, I'm able to see a lot of more of the chats and stuff like that. Even though on Instagram you want to chat, you go ahead and chat. Facebook, I see you right there. All good. YouTube, you're there. Okay. Now I got something. This is very special to me, very dear to me, because it deals with an area that many of us grow up in an area that being brought up in certain environments, in certain conditions, we don't get the education that we need when it comes to this particular energy, which is called the sacral, which is where your sexuality is, your private part. You know what I'm saying? This is on your etheric body. It's called the sacral energy. It's the energy that is that is driving your sexuality, that vehicle. Now, we're going to speak about. Now, I've been doing a lot of research in this. I study Kama Sutra, Kama Satra. People think everything Kama Sutra about sexuality, but they don't understand about Kama Satra. That's different. And I've been studying a lot in this area because as a youth, what I'm saying, I was very not that sexually active, but the interest when I became sexual active, the interest just was there. A lot of time, pause due to poor connection, but a lot of times, you learn because again, when you raised up in certain communities, you raised up in a certain environment where the attention is not put on sexual practice, not even financial practice. They don't even encourage creativity. And the reason why I mention that because we're going to make the connection between sexuality, finance, and creativity. Because this is the center, right? That's governed by your pleasure, that energy that you have, your pleasure, and is blocked by guilt. Now we're going to speak about that. Let me go back a little bit about the environment. So in certain conditions, I've lived and I traveled and I saw that certain areas in the condition known as the hood, or certain areas that are so downtrodden, you can see that you show me a broken area, I'll show you broken families, and I'll show you bad sexual practices. Very important. You know what I'm saying? Sacral center, this practice of sexuality to some culture is very sacred. They take it very, very serious because they know in order for your environment to grow, in order for your family to grow, in order for you to become more successful, even in business, this practice have to be very well tamed and has to be conscientious. You have to be conscientious and conscious of it. So I want to explore this a little bit, right? So I made a connection between sexuality, which is your pleasure, and finance, which is fiance. Also, your creativity, because the balancement of this particular energy center is what we call transmutation. This is where changes happen. And let me show you how. So in sexuality, there's a transmutation that puberty takes over, right? There's a transmutation. Your body transmutes itself. So here you are. Oh, somebody is texting. So here you are. Thank you. Oh, somebody's texting me. I'm sorry. So here you have right? The transmuting of the body, right? And so now when that happens, that energy gets concentrated there. And so pleasure, the humans, we seek pleasure because this is the pleasure center, right? And sometimes with this pleasure, right, we have a blockage. It's called guilt, right? But I call it the shadow. In order to do shadow work with this particular energy, with that sexual energy, you have to go and you have to ask the questions to your shadow self. And that is the guilty part. Why am I feeling guilty? When do I feel guilty? Why? Where do I feel guilty? You know what I'm saying? When do I feel it? Why? You ask the five the whys and how do I feel guilty? You know what I'm saying? How do I react to this? Because in doing that, you get to find out what the pleasure part of you, right? Same thing with your creativity. Creativity is a pleasure. Creativity is a muse. When creative people are involved in either music or art, that's musing. Muse means pleasure, like amusement park, places where we practice pleasure. So it's a muse, right? Music is pleasure. So that's why they say that musicians are more, you could trained, supposed to be well trained, and are more sexually active than any other child. You know what I'm saying? Because that pleasure. But the thing is sometimes you could balance it with the music. You know what I'm saying? Because that all that energy that's there is being put into the creativity part, right? How did this go into finance? Well, finance also changes you, transmutes you for the better or for the worse. Some people get too much of a financial thing, don't have it in order, and what it does, it creates bad situations for you. You know what I'm saying? Again, transmutation. Finance changes you, changes your attitude. It transmute your attitude, it transmute your way of life, your living, and even your conditions, just like creativity. Sexuality does the same thing in terms of your body, and also it changes your attitude about yourself. You know what I'm saying? When a person first engages in a sexual act for the first time, a virgin, there's a change that happens to them. You can see that change happen to them mentally, changes happen to them physically. You know what I'm saying? That's the transmutation. So paying attention to this sacral center is very important for our communities and our families. We have to find, again, we have to balance it and understand that changes are going to be made. Changes are going to happen naturally to young children as adulthood, and it's going to happen naturally. And the financial part is, again, when you're responsible enough that you are creating that contract. I call it a genetic contract. When you have sex, it's like it's a footprint. It's a genetic contract. When you engage in that your financial is also settled and correct. You know what I'm saying? That's important because it builds community. And then again, the creative part. You know what I'm saying? Creative people stick with creative people. That's the way it just said it's supposed to be. That's the way it just it is. Or is being taught, if you're more creative than your spouse or your sexual partner, then that also transmute them and they become creative. I've seen this happen. I've seen this happen a lot. So that's the key. That's the focus of the sacral center. Now, my notes. So it's a gateway to open to many things. Your finance, your creativity, and your sexuality opens the door to many possibilities. So you have to be careful what doors you're opening up. Are you opening up that pleasure door? The sacral secret, right? That's why the doors that are opened up, the pleasure palace, they call it. Careful of what doors you're opening up. Now, again, it's the guardian of the shadow, because this is where you really, really get into your shadow self. And you get to find out what is it that makes you take, what is it, how you feeling? What is it that makes you feel guilty? So, or guilty. And also the other sacral, or the other centers when we will speak about later. So here, again, shamans are being born, because a shaman, right, or a sangoma, has been to the lowest point of their life, but then had like a butterfly, metamorphosis, right? A butterfly, okay? Because now they grow. Once you're able to grow out of that, and now you're able to humanity, heal humanity by concentrating on this particular energy center, okay? It deals a lot with the digestives and your instinct. Your instinct, you feel it, they say from your gut, but you feel it there at your sacral center. That's where instinct is really feel. A very healthy sacral energy center in a person, you see it when they become intimate, or vice versa. You become practice intimacy in a one-on-one relationship with somebody that helps you settle that particular center, balance that center, because that's part of it. The pleasure of intimacy, right? Becoming intimate, and that pleasure of intimacy, it doesn't always have to be about sex, okay? Because you're going to have to be friends with somebody, but you could be intimate with that person, you know what I'm saying? Until you decide to take it to another act, you know what I'm saying, with responsibility. Now, like I said, a lot of this are not being taught when we're young. We don't want to hear this, you know what I'm saying, when we're young. But when we know this, as Sangoma, as wise people, we know this, we can filter this down to our children. So again, our community becomes stronger when we practice the proper sacral center, when we practice the proper etiquette, morals, and ethic when it comes to this particular center. Here you're going to heal the wounded child. Once you start settling and asking a question and doing the shadow work, asking why, and when it comes to guilt, because this deals with pleasure, the guilt that comes along with it, and also guilt can also help you seek the right type of pleasure. You know what I'm saying? You say, "Oh, I don't want this guilty complex, so I'm just gonna choose not to do this like this because I don't want to get." You know what I'm saying? It could go both hands. Okay. Now, here you're freeing your creativity. Once you're open once you're that one-on-one relationship, you're open. In terms of your balance and satisfied in this particular center. Now, what is it? Poor connection. Okay. Then what's happening is you're freeing your creativity. Your creativity is free more. I mean, and I've seen that when I engage. That's the reason why I have friends and I call certain people, because I become intimate with them, right? And at the same time, that helps me settle that particular energy center, and also I become more creative. You're gonna become creative, man. You know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. And so, mastering emotions. Your energy that's in motion. This energy here is a pleasure energy. It's very, very, very important, very tricky, very tricky. You have to really, as families and as people, humanity, we have to really get a hold of this energy center and know how we're using it, because it's transmuting. It's about transmutations, changing how we're going to change things for the better. In order to change it for the better, we got to have the right type of sexual practice. You know what I'm saying? You're going to form healthy relationship once you start dealing with this energy center. Your healthy relationships with your siblings, everybody around you, everybody. You know what I'm saying? When you see somebody not so, the relationship is not there, half of the time they're having some type of problems. If they're having financial problems, they're having sexual problems. If they're having creativity problems, then you have to know down. Well, I mean, you could always narrow it down to this pleasure. You know what I'm saying? That's what they always say. Don't do what you love. Love what you do. Care for what you do. Be pleasurable on what you're doing, because this deals with the sacral center a lot. It deals with a lot. And you open yourself to abundance. Okay. You show me a very healthy person when it comes to their sexuality. I show you a very wealthy person. You know what I'm saying? And a healthy person. It all goes hand in hand. and a creative person. It all goes hand in hand. You look like you're glowing. Man, you're good. Yes, exactly. You look like you're glowing. Transmutation. You look like you're glowing. You can see that because of the change in the body. And a lot of time it don't have to be only sexual too, because when a body changes, it starts from there. But when that seed is planted, a woman and she's birthing, and pregnant, she's glowing because that pleasure is satisfied. You know what I'm saying? There is a pleasure there in the root of it. You know what I'm saying? But yes, yes, yes. They say the fruit of a tree of good and evil. Well, there are many different narratives about that. I don't think we can go straight into that, but there is that. But in a way, you're hitting on something because you see when you talk about the tree of good and evil, in terms of biblical and what the tree was and the plant, and you're dealing with the opium process, the opium tree, right? Opium has always been used as an aphrodisiac. Opium, I'm telling you, it always been used as an aphrodisiac. You can go way back. A lot of people that are so overly sexually wind up being addicts, opium addicts. Are very, very, you can see that in them, you know what I'm saying? And that only come from experience to seeing it, you know what I'm saying? So I don't want to go there because I don't want people to get the wrong message and stuff like that. But that's a practice, that's left hand magic. There is a practice in that where, because there are groups out here that can take that energy center and sort of like control it with substance. And when that happens, you're dealing with a very dangerous thing because they're transmuting you into something. So they're controlling you. That's mind control. They're controlling you to go a certain direction. But that's another practice that has been done in India, that has been done in Sumeria, and when you look at certain cultures, they've done that. Certain priesthood, they have done that. Sex cults have done that. They've been involved in the whole opium ingestion because opium settles you down. Opium makes you feel that euphoric feeling. That's the reason why Eve came back to Adam saying, go ahead, take the apple. She seduced him into doing it. She was transmuted because her sexual energy was transmuted through the ingesting of that particular plant, which they were told, don't touch it. Don't touch it. Because you got to be responsible. You're going to be responsible. You're going to deal with the consequence. But that's going into another area. That's going deep into that, man. Man, we could just go real, real, real deep in that. So I just wanted to come on here and I appreciate you, Keprial. I appreciate you very much. Yeah. So you see the connection, and also with finance too. You show me a person that's financial well, or just gain some financial independency, abundance and stuff, and I show you a changed person. And I show you a very creative person. They become very creative. They're forced to be creative, and they become very sexuality also. It's just about being balanced. Again, morals and ethics and being balanced. Now, when we talk about also with the finance and the sexual and the creativity, and in terms of family, I've learned, I'm not going to tell you everything, but I've learned that words like relationship, trust, relationship, marriage, fiance, those are business terms. I mean, when you go to the court and you marry, those are two entities coming together, but that entity is bringing with them finance. You inherit your spouse's credit. You become a financial conglomerate, right? Concomitant. You know what I mean? a corporation together. So, and a trust, to really trust somebody, a trust fund. You know what I'm saying? I trust you with it. So those are business terms. Finance is fiance. During the time of fiance, right? When you engage somebody, business, you engage in the business, you hand them a dowry, or you hand them a diamond, something that's worth something. That's a contract. You know what I'm saying? And now that part of the fiance is to get your finance in order. Both entities have to get their finance in order, because when they're going to come together, they're going to come so that they can grow a family, which is a business term. You know what I'm saying? The Italian, the mafia, they use that. They know that. There's certain families are very careful who they marry their siblings to, because to them, they're looking at it, they're growing the community, they're looking at it different. It's a different culture. But like I said, growing up in the hood, and not really growing up in the hood because we always kind of ran away with outskirts, but seeing the hood broken. And then you see those practices, financial practice, the scamming going on, the bad finance, bad sexual, practices everywhere. You know how many kids will conceive in the back of a Volkswagen, or up on the roof in New York, or in the basement, or in a bad dump. These things happen. You know what I'm saying? And you know what? It's about time to correct ourselves in humanity, all humanity. Okay, well, your community is to be, again, very, very conscious and conscientious of aware, and also wisdom, practicing in particular this energy center and how important it is. And your body changes because now you got the mid crisis, right? Where some people go to mid crisis. Now their pleasure, they're not as fluid, right? So their sexual practice is not as fluid, so they become crystallized. Your testosterone drop. Many things happen, transmute. So you have to be aware of this, and you have to work with it, all right, as to balance that energy. And you should be at a point right now, if you're in from 45 up, 50, 52 actually. And when you up in the 50s and you get up now, your responsibility, you can't do the same thing you did when you were young. So your responsibility is different now. Your sexual practice is different. You should be able to handle your finance differently, right? And your creativity now becomes also abundance. You should be able now to see the abundance in life. You know what I'm saying? Not always play the victim person and whatever, and see abundance. You know what I'm saying? We have so much of an abundance, man. You know what I'm saying? And when you have this sense of abundance, you have this sense of creativity, and then your finance, it seems to be, you're surviving, you're maintaining your finance. Then your sexual practice, it will be, would we be at ease? At ease. You could be not be sexually active for years and years, right? But then it comes to a time where you become now with a different mindset. You know what I'm saying? Now you know how to handle it the proper way and understand what comes with that, because you already experienced it. Now you know what comes with that pleasure palace, all right? Those delicacies, what comes with that? And then how can I better benefit me, my family, and by engaging in certain acts? But if you don't think about the acts you man, I mean, you're just, you're gonna be used. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna be used. Anyway, I'll leave it there. And like I tell everybody, just go to my YouTube. It's Silos Congas on YouTube, because I'm gonna do some presentations, so I'm able to share my screens and bring up peer reviewed, and bring up some psychological papers at the same time. Bring up some content. You know what I'm saying, for that. And so. With all that being said, I bid everybody. I want everybody to research, think, open up your mind, be creative, be very creative. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you have a spouse, be creative, man. Be creative. Think about the finance, and if you see abundance in there, you say, man, then you have a one-on-one beautiful relationship, and you work at it and maintain it and work at it. I will love that. All in blessings. Let me go one by one. And Instagram, I see you. I'm out, signing out over here on Instagram. Okay. Peace. Yeah, I just logged off of Instagram. Now I'm logging off of Facebook. How you doing, my Facebook people? Hope everybody is doing great. I know that everybody's doing great. I know everybody's doing great. Well, I'm going to finish up here, okay? All in blessings to you. Peace. And what's going on, my YouTube people? Again, all in blessings to you. And you're here, And I want everybody to come to YouTube in the future. Let's big up. Let's get it up, okay? All right. Ciao.